Welcome to Joe's Astrology, Mars and Moon in the birth chart for astrology. Do you have Mars and Moon in your chart? Mars and Moon by transit. I actually do have Mars and Moon conjunct in my chart in Aquarius. And I had an experience yesterday and this inspired this video. And I was making a video. Well, I have another YouTube channel and I was reading the comments, and bear with me here with this story. This is how astrology, if you're new here, if you're new to astrology, this is partially how astrology works, and that's why I'm making this video. I came home, was reading the comments, which on my other channel, often when I do read the comments, they're very, they can get you going. They're not always positive, and I usually am not triggered by the comments, but occasionally I am. And I came home and I read a comment and I started responding to the comment, and it inspired a video, and I made a video kind of responding to this comment and many other comments that I'm getting. And it was very vitriolic. It was like vitriol. It was just me ranting and really getting assertive and firm with people. Not really angry, but more, if you think of Mars like being assertive, being very firm, Mars being the right in think of Mars as the right hand coming down, the law in a sense coming down, kind of like Saturn. And so I make this video and I check the astrology, and there is Mars Moon in the sky conjunct exactly at 25 degrees. And that is how astrology works. That's how it can work. And many people think, well, I don't live my life by astrology. Well, I didn't try to do that. I did not try to do that. And some people will say that because I'm an astrologer that I'm tapped. I've heard this before from other astrologers, that I'm tapped into the energies. And this may be the case. This is not scientific by any means. This is just a introductory general video on how astrology can work with Mars and Moon. And I think especially if you have Mars and Moon in your chart, this can be how it works. And I also want to bring this up, that how astrology has helped me. I'll do this often, and I had a feeling that this was going to happen, so I checked the astrology. And what that does for me is it makes me more aware of, possibly what else is going on here. Let's just say maybe I'm being tempted to act like this, and maybe I don't want to publish that video. Maybe I do. I'm probably going to publish the video, but it's also fascinating to see that time and time again. But think of the thumbnail that I used with two people yelling at each other, and imagine if these two people are aware of astrology. They're getting into it, they're fighting, and then they check the astrology, and sure enough, there's a Mars transiting their moon. Especially, let's say that Mars is transiting their moon in their natal chart. For me, at least for me, that really gives me pause there, and to really think about this argument, and to stop and say, something else. Is there something else bigger going on here? Is there something else influencing me that I'm not aware of? And do I really want to act like this right now? And I know for many people that's not the case, but for me, it really does give me pause. And I think in relationships, it helps me tremendously. I've had other work situations with being at workplaces when this has happened, and it doesn't always really make a difference, but it does at the very least, it gives me pause, and I'll think about, this isn't going to last. In a couple days, this is going to pass, and always, sure enough, it usually does pass, especially if the situation's been resolved, or at least I can resolve the situation, and then, of course, it'll pass, and there's the Mars-Moon transit. So if you have Mars, these can be, you can see this in your life with the natal chart as well. If you have like this kind of, I've had many of these experiences in my life in general, or growing up, if I would have knew about this, it would have helped me tremendously. If you have Mars conjunct Moon in your chart, if you have Moon in the first house, if you have Mars in Cancer, think of Cancer as being ruled by the Moon. Anything that would give you some kind of combination with Mars and Moon, with where Mars is touching the Moon in some way. You could have a Cancer ascendant, you could have Mars in the fourth house as well. I was going to say you have a Cancer ascendant and Mars on the ascendant, but that's the same. Just Mars and Cancer in general. Mars in the fourth house. Mars squaring the Moon. Anything like this, you will probably have a lot of experiences where you are fighting with your emotions for good or for good or bad or whatever the reason. There could be a good reason for it. It's not always negative. Like in my case, making that video, I do not think it was unwarranted. I do not think that it was a negative thing. And people who have Mars and Moon also can. I think it's good to realize that in a positive way, this is not a bad aspect. This aspect is necessary, just like Mars is necessary in the world, especially from a standpoint of fighting back and defending yourself. It's very, very much necessary and an important part of life for sure. So, I hope you enjoy that. That's a little mini description of Mars and Moon in astrology.